Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Woo! It's Friday. We made it. We made it to Friday again. See, I thought maybe for a second you were doing money, doing the Johnny Manziel. Ooh, baby, Johnny Football.
Yeah, I know who that is.
No, I know you know who it is.
Well, with football, I'm so hit or miss. Like sometimes I'm like, what are you talking about right now?
So true, so true.
But no, it's the Olympics are behind us. Something we were looking at, right? We came in this summer being like, all right, hockey's over, but we've got an eventful summer.
Mm-hmm.
The Euro came and went. Copa America came and went. The Olympics are now behind us. It was a quiet week.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, shoot, well, now what do we use to entertain ourselves in the afternoons and whatnot? But luckily, the PGA Tour came in, and the FedEx Cup started yesterday. Super exciting stuff. And we're less than a week away from the PGA Tour coming to town.
Yep.
It'll be here next week for the BMW Championship. Of course,
Championship. I couldn't remember if it was Championship or Classic.
Championship. Right now, it's the St. Jude Championship.
Ah.
Top 70 players from the PGA season are playing against each other right now. The top 50 from that tournament will be here next week. And then the top 30
is
from that go on to the final.
Scotty, is he going to make it?
Yeah, right now I think he's sitting at a -6. He's in like the top 12 or so.
Wasn't looking great.
He never is in the
yesterday.
beginning of a week. You know, that's kind of what he does. He kind of I don't think you ever watch a tournament of his and be like, wow, he's crushing it. He'll like kind of float around the top 10 for the first couple of days, and then Sunday he just turns it on.
Yeah.
And then takes over. So yeah, having fun watching that so far, and we'll see how the rest of the weekend plays out.
Well, and then like you said, because the BMW Championship is next week.
Can't wait. I'm gonna be there on Saturday.
And then I believe NFL regular season is like 1 week after that.
Is it that quick?
I
feel
think
like they
so,
just
dude.
started.
I think it's only 3 preseason
Oh
games.
yeah,
this
that's
year.
a new thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And so or maybe if it's not the next week, it's the following week. And then we're talking about like NHL rookie camp, rookie tournament, and then right after they get back from the tournament, it's regular training camp, and it's like we're off and going, dude. So have we made it? Did we make it through?
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a European soccer fan like Jeroen and myself, that started this week. So
the leagues,
yeah, all the leagues are started. The team I like to follow plays its first game on Sunday, so the fall season is upon us.
And today's maybe a bad day to say this. It's gonna be like 98 degrees today, but it's felt very fall-y for the last week.
Yeah, I agree. There's always that just like aura you get in the air where you're like, fall is near.
Like, rain?
Yeah.
Cloud cover? Bullshit wind all evening long? Must be fall. Just was that my shoe?
Yes.
Oh my god, that startled me.
So clean the floors here at Gorilla
I was gonna
Sports.
say, dude, Mark and John just he didn't see that.
No, he didn't.
Mark, I saluted you. There it is. He just crushes it. They've been working tirelessly in the studio for the last like 2 weeks, making sure it's all together. And like you said, even keeping it squeaky clean. I think is Jay back there?
Yeah, he's running the show.
Is he? There he is.
Hey, camera's working.
Camera's working.
Smiling.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, despite like you said, kind of being a quiet week, we've got some news stuff to talk about for the Avs. Around the league. I talked a little bit about some of this stuff on Tuesday, but you weren't there for that, and so I want to get your takes on it. Do you want to start locally or do you want to start nationally?
I'm pretty loco myself, so let's get loco.
All right. Well, we'll take it a step further. Do you want to start official news or not official news?
Let's go with the not official news.
Not official news. Gabe Landeskog and co. were on the ice today, and I'm just realizing that video's not in there, so I'll make sure it's back in there. Gabe Landeskog on the ice today. Erik Johnson joined him. and Kurtis MacDermid. So one Avs player, a Flyers player, and a Devils player. But Erik Johnson back out there and looking better. Not 100%, but looking better. And this seems to be somewhat in line with the Lonzo Ball thing. And here we go. I think we should have it right here.
You can already tell that he's moving his feet quicker. He's feeling more comfortable on these turns, right? Those are sharp turns he's taking, really putting a lot of weight on the knees and on an individual leg. Got to get his hands back, as you saw there.
Yeah.
Fumbled the puck a little bit, but, I think when you're not skating at full speed, when you're not in the rhythm, the hands are the first to go, right? That's kind of what I've learned in my days of covering hockey. So he's got to get a little bit back in the fine details, but it looks to me like he's in shape to at least start skating his hardest, thanks to Brendan Vaught. I forget. It was one or the other.
At the rink, Colorado, Brendan Vaught. He's always around, especially here in the off season. Always making sure that any of that unofficial team activity he's there documenting. So shout out to him.
Yep.
But no, I think this is kind of in line with what we've continued to see. Feels like every time Gabe gets on the ice, it is getting progressively better and better and better.
But it's been a several months since we've seen him, right? And so I think the gap from when we saw him last to what we're seeing today, I'm sure he doesn't recognize it because he's doing it every day, right? It's like you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't notice the changes. But somebody who hasn't seen you in 5 years is like, whoa, you look way different. That's how I feel about this here with Landy. He looks miles better than when we last saw him. Again, I think the foot speed is what is giving me the most tickles in my belly.
It's the speed at which he's going through all of that. I'm with you. Yeah, he's it looks like there's more weight on that leg. Brendan has a few more videos from today, so go check it out on his Twitter. But it's a lot of that type of stuff where it's Landy continuing to go through drills, put weight on the leg, make turns. He also was out there, tipping pucks and stuff like that. And I think that's encouraging. I
think it's beyond encouraging. I think that's exciting.
Yeah. Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm excited.
That looks like a player who he's not 6 weeks away from coming back, but that looks like a player who is, months, not years away from coming back.
Let's do I like to gamble. I like to take bets. Let's make one right now.
Okay.
Let's call our shot. I'm going to call November 18th.
I'm going to say it's the biggest Christmas present that Avs fans are going to get. October 20.
December, I'm assuming.
December, yep. So embarrassing. I was going to say December 27th in Utah, but I wonder if they'd want to start him at home.
Oh, man, the crowd.
Right.
Imagine if they also could keep that under wraps. No, they're not going to be able to because we have morning skate and you got tattletales like me, you, Era, and Corey. We're going to be out there being like, he's back. Yeah. He shed the practice jersey.
But I don't doubt that they would do like we'll wait and see tonight. We're going to wait and see.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, ooh. Do you do Winnipeg on New Year's Eve? Could you imagine a New Year's Eve game at Ball Arena and Gabe Landeskog plays for the first time since lifting the Stanley Cup?
That place will erupt.
Dude, the roof would come off that fucking
It's
building.
So wild that it's been that long since
Crazy,
he's
right?
Played an NHL game.
So, you know what? That'll be...
Is there a game on November 18th? I just threw a random date out there.
At home against Anaheim.
Yeah.
Softer opponent at home.
I think November.
Oh, wait, hold on. That was
line.
October.
Oh.
There is no game on November 18th.
Goodness.
No, wait, hold on. This is skipping directly from October to December. God, the NHL app, dude. The NHL app is horrible.
I don't think anybody hates it more than you.
In Philly against Erik Johnson on November 18th.
Huh. Yeah, it's got to be a home game. It is
a 4-game homestand right the week before that.
All right, I'll go with that homestand.
So do you want to? Okay. All right. that homestand. I'm gonna say New Year's Eve.
Man, that would be rowdy and
A holiday miracle for Gabe Landeskog and the Colorado Avalanche. New Year's Eve against the Winnipeg Jets.
cool.
Yeah, I think it's really encouraging. Good to see Erik Johnson in town. We've talked about it maybe on this show. Dude, athletes love it here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are a lot of athletes who either get traded here and then end up staying here, or they're here, they get traded, and they keep roots. Matt Duchene still has a house here as of, a year ago.
That makes sense because his wife's from here. I think Erik Johnson makes sense because he was here for so long. I mean, I'm sure he bought himself a sick-ass house 10 years ago when prices were super cheap. And he's like, well, I can't let go of this mortgage. This is so good to me. I think the weather's obviously beneficial. If it were me, I'd rather be somewhere with a beach. I think Nikita Zadorov has it right? His other home is in Florida. But no, it's not surprising to see Erik Johnson, Kurtis, MacDermid out there because this happens every year, right? You see former players come and skate at family sports. Maybe they haven't fully made the move. Maybe they just want to keep the house for post-career stuff. But no, it's fun that the camaraderie still exists there. And I think it's cool. It feels like it's kind of unique to the NHL where players do this and they skate with former teammates. I know in the NBA you see, a group of stars get together for a pickup game because they don't want to play against the scrubs that they see at the YMCA. They're just going to throw elbows at them and hit them in the nose. But no, I think it's fun. It's cool. It's kind of just a sign of like, hey, the NHL is getting closer. Guys are skating together. They may not be on the same team, but they're hanging out on the ice together.
Well, and like there's a picture of Nathan McKinnon was there. So like Nate's back in town. He always goes back to Cole Harbor in the summer and trains with Sid. Gabe usually goes to Sweden for at least a portion of the summer. I'm with you. Like, it's just like not only are they skating, but like now they're starting to skate together at team facilities, not at their, their local rinks back in their hometowns. And it's not the beauty league and shit like that.
No, and Erik Johnson's definitely a guy I miss. I'm sure you do. I'm sure we all do. He's such a good personality.
Dude, you're such a great guy to talk with.
I just wonder if he, having now been in Buffalo and Philadelphia, steps into family sports and he's just like, I forgot what a piece of shit this rink is.
I'm sure he I'm sure he makes comments about it.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to Philly or Buffalo's practice facility, but I'm certain they're nicer than whatever that is at Family Sports.
Yeah.
All right. Then the official news for the Avalanche front office. We knew that this hire would be coming at some point. Andrew Wilson has joined the Colorado Avalanche as the assistant general manager. According to the press release, it says he'll be working very closely with, obviously, general manager Chris MacFarland. Chris MacFarland was the AGM for the Avalanche before being promoted to general manager when Joe Sakic got pushed up to what is he now? President? He's a bunch of different things. I think he's just kind of,
he gets to chill.
He's Joe Sakic. Yeah. He's whatever your official title is. I believe he's the president of hockey operations. But Andrew Wilson previously worked for the NHL Central Registry, which is where all of the trades, player movement comes through. He was also heavily involved with collective bargaining. So, you kind of made the joke when that got announced. You said, okay, well, at least we know he'll know the rules. But in all seriousness, I don't ever think it's bad to have someone like this in your organization, especially given everything the Avs just went through with the Val Nichushkin situation and having to get clarity on what their options were, what the collective bargaining agreement would allow them to do, et cetera, et cetera. So while we say it a little bit tongue in cheek, well, he's going to know the rules. I'd be willing to bet that was at least something that they discussed. Like, well, hey, we know he's going to be on the inside of all this stuff.
Right. Not only that, I think it's such a unique experience that he had where he got to see the way other teams kind of operate, right? Or the way maybe some tips and tricks are done throughout the league, and he got to see that firsthand. I think, that could really benefit him and benefit the team as well. So I think there's a lot of good to come out of it. Obviously, I don't know much about who he really is. I don't know much about his history, but he's obviously somebody who they deem worthy because, like you said, from Chris McFarland, you start out as the assistant GM. The logical next step for you is to be a GM. So if that's his trajectory, whether it's here or elsewhere, obviously he provides a lot of upside to a front office.
Well, and he was the one of the primary contacts for all 32 teams when dealing with central registry. So to your point, not only does he understand how some of these other teams do business, he's got relationships with other front offices. When he calls and when he talks to other general managers, other front offices, they're going to know who he is. There's not going to be this big learning curve with, wait, who's Andrew Wilson? What's he all about? Who's this guy that you hired? Where did he come from? They all know him. They're all familiar with him. Look, he's the assistant GM. I don't think we need to sit here and, park a ton of time for what he's all about and what the Avs are getting and what he's going to bring. I think this is a guy that's got good relationships, that's going to know the inner workings of how the league likes to do things on the player movement side. And I think you bring up a good point of, he's at least gotten a window into how other teams do their business. I think it's a good hire.
Yeah, absolutely. And we remember when Chris McFarland was in that role, a lot of people credited Chris McFarland with a lot of what the Avalanche are doing, right? I think Chris McFarland's still in the driver's seat and still going to be the one calling the shots, but obviously Wilson has a role to play, and he has, he's going to have his hand in any transactions or whatever the Avalanche are doing.
He's going to be part of those conversations. And keep in mind, like, Joe Sakic is still here. Joe Sakic's still going to be heavily involved in a lot of that decision-making. But like they really went all of last year without this position filled. And it was Joe Sakic and Chris McFarland that were, kind of running the show. And I think everyone agrees that was totally fine.
I'm just curious how our names got skipped.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't even get a call back.
Yep. Didn't get a didn't even get a first interview.
No.
Just real quick, we did have a comment here that I wanted to make sure we addressed. Is Landy expected to take part in training camp in any capacity? Not to my knowledge. And based on that video, I mean, we're talking about a month till training camp. That does not look like someone that will be participating in drills. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see him out there helping warm up goalies, just kind of being on the ice, being around. But I imagine once any kind of real group activities get going, he will be.
Yeah, go to that first comment as well. I think that's kind of relevant. If we get Val and Landy back, I'm super confident in another cup run. Not only that, I think we keep forgetting about O'Connor, right? I'm not exactly positive when he's supposed to return. I imagine he'll be on training camp with Landy, kind of warming up goalies, getting things ready to go. Or is he supposed to be 100%?
O'Connor is expected to be ready to go for camp. Lehkonen is who you're thinking of, who they're hoping to be ready for camp. But that he should be ready to go by regular season, but they don't know if Lehkonen will be ready by first days of camp.
I just think we've often talked about how Logan O'Connor is kind of that forgotten guy that wasn't there, right? And
yes, dude.
Landy, Val, and O'Connor getting back in the lineup, I think, is what's really going to be pivotal for the Avalanche. I saw you talking yesterday about the penalty kill, right? Pivotal piece on the penalty kill, Logan O'Connor right there. Now that Andrew Cogliano's out of the picture, I think Logan O'Connor is kind of your penalty kill captain, so to speak. So I love Logan O'Connor. I love his style. I love his game. I think
the work ethic, dude,
often gets underrated, and we need to remember that Logan O'Connor's presence back in the lineup is going to be huge as well.
It's a great call out because we have talked about that this summer. There was a lot of focus on no Gabe, no Val, but not having Logan O'Connor made a massive difference too in your depth and the quality makeup of your bottom six. I'm not saying it's necessarily the difference, but it helps.
Yeah, and shorthanded goals, don't forget.
Shorthanded goals don't hurt either. Can Val participate in training camp while suspended? No, he is not allowed back around the team till what is it, November 13th? Somewhere between the 13th and the 16th. Val cannot take part in NHL or Colorado Avalanche related activities until he's cleared by the PA to resume practice. Then after that, he can resume games. I'm also just putting together, literally as I was saying that sentence out loud, I'm just realizing, because remember when Val came back from the January thing, how they were telling us, oh, he's been cleared for practice, but he hasn't been cleared for a game. And I was like, that's weird. I've never heard of that before. For
Yeah, it's not like it was a concussion
guy, right? I was like, I've always thought that once they were good to come back, they can come back. I wonder if it was the same type of deal where he had to be like, okay, we're approving you to resume practice, but we're not approving you to resume games.
Yeah, I wonder what the difference is in the NHL's mind and like what has to happen between the time you start practice to the time you start games for them to give you the green light.
Right. Huh. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, that just came to me as I was saying he's not allowed to take part in this stuff. And I was like, well, shit, that was weird verbiage last year.
Let's write it down for questions at training camp.
Hey, Jared, good to see you. Let's get into this Val stuff. LOC may have gotten 20 goals last year. You and I have also talked about that his offensive production seemed a little bit more than a flash in the pan. He seemed like he was really building some production up. So maybe we are selling him a little bit short on what he could have contributed. Maybe he could have made a difference in that Dallas series. He was cooking and he was the glue to that Colton and Wood line. I agree. And then also from, what do you think? Is this FU 2006? Like because a staunch supporter.
He said that it was just a name that YouTube gave him.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking maybe yesterday because we did a Q&A show yesterday. And,
right, that's where I saw him. He put in the comments explanation.
They did. Okay, all right. Because I called this out. I was like, man, do you just really not like 2006? Am I reading it wrong? Is it like FU 2006?
Or yeah, I think maybe he said that 2006 was just a rough year for him. So maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
We don't need to
theoretically, if Nuke gets cleared to return in November, the earliest he would play probably is December. I would assume they're treating this like how they did when he returned in March.
Yeah. Random name that he got at YouTube.
There you go. Thank you. Random name that I came up with when I first set up my YouTube account. Perfect. But 2006 wasn't fun. Okay, all right. So it is FU 2006. Okay, I just wanted to know how to refer because you're always in here. You're such a great listener. I just wanted to make sure that we were saying your name right, your username right. Anything else on Landy, Val, LOC, skating today, or Andrew Wilson before we move to broader NHL topics?
I guess not. No, I think MacDermid was kind of the surprise, right? I mean, we knew how much they all loved him and we always heard it, but it was something you never really saw firsthand. He's just kind of a stoic individual as it is that like you never really saw him and Landy being like, hey, bud, how you doing? So interesting that he's part of the cool guy crew here. But we've also heard over and over and over how hard of a worker he is, how much he wants to be in the league. And now that he's on a new team in New Jersey and he's going to spend the training camp there for the first time, he wants to prove something. So good on him for being there, putting in some work and getting the training camp season started.
We got some questions starting to come in. So load us up with questions. We're going to talk some NHL stuff, but load up the questions and we'll still circle back to them at the end.
Yeah.
Perfect. There's already three in there. So keep 3 new ones that we haven't gotten to. Keep those coming. We did an hour-long Q&A yesterday.
I know. I participated.
Oh, you did. That's right. I thought it was fun. Because we were upstairs talking about, like, oh, we should go down and film the mailbag. And people were missing yesterday from the office. So I was just kind of bored. I was like, let's just go start the live and see how many questions people ask. And I thought it went well. Went for about an hour.
Yeah. Now that it's Friday, people are in better moods. They're ready to participate even more.
Yeah, get them questions in there. There's 2 of us to answer today. 2. Austin Matthews named the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. This feels like they're going in a different direction. Obviously, John Tavares gave his blessing. He was there at the press conference. He actually presented Austin Matthews with the jersey. But, I talked about this the other day, and we've even gotten a lot of comments and people talking about like, okay, well, if Landy can't come back to the Avs, need to name a new captain. I still think it's no. because I don't think you're trying to move on from the Gabe Landeskog era. I don't think the Leafs are necessarily trying to move on from John Tavares, but it's clear they're trying to shake up the culture and the environment there.
Well, when John Tavares first showed up to Toronto and was given the C, those guys were still so young, right? The Austin Matthews, the Nylanders, the Marners. Now that they're kind of established and they're saying, all right, this is now our team, I feel like it's an appropriate time for John Tavares to be like, yep, I'm ready to start taking a lesser role. I'm going to kind of start the decline of my career. It kind of feels like he kind of already is from a production standpoint. I think he's 34 years old, so not that he's crazy old, but he's starting the downhill. So I think it makes perfect sense for him to turn it over. He's obviously not the star of the show.
Right.
And I think Austin Matthews, part of him re-signing in Toronto was, you want to give him as many carrots as possible. Right. And just be like, please be happy here. We don't want you to ever leave Toronto when there's
I think the Maple Leafs genuinely, I think the Maple Leafs got lucky that the floor fell out from underneath the Arizona Coyotes.
Yes and no. I don't feel like Austin Matthews was ever in Toronto, like looking over at Arizona, like, ooh, I can't wait till I'm a free agent. I want to head over there. Like, they've always been a mess. They've always sucked. And I don't think just simply adding Austin Matthews makes that a contender. Like, maybe they squeak into the playoffs.
I think had the arena gone through and I just think that it would have it would have breathed new life into the franchise. And then he could have earmarked that as because everyone was kind of laughing because his new deal with the Leafs is lined up pretty damn close with what the original projections of the new arena were in Arizona. And so I don't know. I just always looked at that as he would go back to Arizona right when Logan Cooley, Clayton Keller, Matthias Michelli are all starting to peak. He'll come in, they'll name him captain, and he'll be the mayor of Arizona or mayor of Phoenix until he retires, puts them back on the map. And again, all of that's out the window now. None of that matters now.
I just think he still has to be part of the rebuild in that scenario, right? Like, yes, those players are maturing, they're coming into their own. Then you slide in Austin Matthews, everything gets better, but that's really like the first stepping stone of actually being legitimate. Where what they've built in Toronto over these last several years feels like they're on the incline. Yes, they can't get out of the first round, but it feels like
they're on the incline.
At least they made a lot of progress in the last 5 years.
I mean, sure, if you're comparing to where they were,
and if they keep these tough first round matchups, like if it was a regular playoff setup, I think they'd be having an easier time getting out of the first round. They're a legit team, maybe not a legit Stanley Cup winning team, but they're more than first round exits.
So the first round stuff, I completely agree with you that's more of a product of how these playoffs are set up. Like, yeah, I'm with you. Let's not pretend like they're getting bounced by scrub teams.
Right.
But this core has made it out of a round, regardless of which round it is, once.
Yeah, I know.
This to me feels like they're doing it because they've plateaued, not because they're still on the up. I think if you're comparing them to, when Austin Matthews came into the league after them drafting him first overall, they've made massive strides. They're a top tier team. Like, they're going to make the playoffs. This to me feels like they're saying we've got to start changing things here. And I do find it so funny that the Maple Leafs are willing to change everything except for the actual makeup of the fucking team that goes out onto the ice. Like, fire the coach, fire the GM, name a new captain, get new jerseys, get Justin Bieber involved, host the All-Star game. It's like, how about change the players? Like, Morgan Riley ain't cutting it.
Yeah.
Ilya Samsonov ain't cutting it. Matt Murray on injured reserve that you traded for isn't cutting it. This to me just feels like another, what else can we do without actually getting better players?
All right. Yeah, I'll give that to you.
All right.
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
they're way better than they were 5-6 years ago. This to me feels like we're stuck and we need something to look and feel different. This feels like an attempt to shake up the culture.
I'm curious what kind of leader Austin Matthews really is, because
Me
he
too.
doesn't strike me as the guy that's like rah rah, I'm here for you, right? He strikes me more of a Nathan McKinnon, like, hey, you're not as good as me, you need to be better, right? Almost like I don't want to call it negative, but that's the only word that's popping into my head, like a negative type of leadership where it's like, come on, like this sucks. He also he's kind of a chill guy on camera, chill guy into the media. So like I don't see him being the Gabe Landeskog type to stand up there and really like answer questions.
Got it.
Good for you. Really answer questions that like a captain would, right? He
Well,
loves to give like
yeah.
snarl back at media members, and I remember when he was like, "Oh, great question." Like, because what happened? He slammed his face on the goalpost.
Oh, that's right. Someone asked if it hurt.
Yeah, great question. So no, it's gonna be interesting what kind of leader he turns into, or just is.
He strikes me a little bit. Not I think Nathan McKinnon is unique, but he strikes me a little bit like Nathan McKinnon, where like we've asked Nate before, do you want to be captain? He's like, no, I don't want to be captain. I've argued before that I don't think Connor McDavid should be the captain. Not because I don't think he's worthy of it or a good leader or anything like that, but it's like that dude already has to carry an entire franchise through winning games. Don't make him get up there and do all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He can be an alternate captain. He can be a leader, but like there is a lot of responsibility that comes with being a captain that goes beyond being a good leader. And I've always felt for Connor McDavid, like that guy like has to, he's Jackie Moon. He's the owner. He's the coach. He's the GM. He drives the bus. He fills the water bottles. He lays out everyone's equipment.
Intermission entertainment.
Right.
He's the DJ.
Yeah, he runs the promotions during the thing. He comes out in a full costume. He's also the Lynx, like the mascot, the hunter, the Lynx. And he scores 3 goals a night and has 2 assists and leads the league in power play points. Mm-hmm. Like, don't make him get up and also have to talk. Hey, the rest of your team was horrible tonight. You were great. What happened out there? Yeah. Don't make Connor McDavid do that. And like, I feel like that's how Nathan McKinnon is, where it's like, he's got so much responsibility on his shoulders for, in between the whistles that like, yeah, he doesn't need to be the one that owns that after the game. So it's going to be interesting to see so much of their offense gets driven through Austin Matthews. Yeah. What type of leader is he? Yeah. And just, he's the face of that team. So now why not make it the official face of the team and the guy who stands up there and comment just came in. Yes. This goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. Cale Makar, I think is pretty widely looked at as. Oh yeah. I don't think it's a question. It's Cale next. Yeah. And again, I'd be willing to bet if we asked Nate would say it's Cale next. Yeah. Like there's just certain players who aren't, it's not they don't want it, not they wouldn't take it, not they haven't been captains in past teams in their career, but that's just not what they're built for. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would say Cale Makar is the temporary captain, just not wearing a C on his shirt, right? How many times last year after losses, even tough losses, me and you were looking at the locker room like, shoot, who do we talk to? And Cale's already talking. Yeah. He's like, oh, we talked to him last time. I feel bad talking to Cale again. But he's there. He gives honest answers. He's very respectful. He is a captain. He's exactly what you want in a captain. And, once my kid's old enough, I'm going to be like, look at Cale Makar. That's the example that you need to set. Speaking of which, I'm going to take my kid, just turned 18 months, a year and a half. Yep. He's going for his first skate on Monday. Nice. I'm excited for that. Right. Dude, I love that. Super stoked. Nice. Yeah. That's going to be great. Where are you guys going? Probably the Edge. Okay. Yeah. Damn. If you come any further south, let me know. I'd love to go. The Edge is pretty far south. I know, but I'm just a weenie. Yeah. And I don't like to drive. Yeah. Well, yeah. Doesn't matter. I'll be like, hey, watch this film of Cale Makar first before you hit the ice, child. This is who I was going to bring up. Says Taves is a dark horse candidate for captain after Landy. I think it's Kale. I don't think it would be Devon, but he is another one that he's always honest, always. When you can get him, he's always got something good to say. And he's one that I went to after several bad games last year. So the Avs went on a little bit of a run, and I went to him 2 games in a row after some good wins. And I told him, like, I'm coming to talk to you because I just want you to know I don't only talk to you after losses. But it's hard because when guys have good stuff to say, they're the easy ones to go to after losses.
Yeah. And Kale's just a guy that will never tell you no,
Mm-hmm.
right? He'll never even make you feel like he doesn't want to talk to
I
you.
was going to say there's times where you can tell he wants to, but he's like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Kale, dude, he's
Like,
such a nice guy. He's such a crazy nice guy.
He is.
I was told last year that they gave heavy consideration in naming a temporary captain at the start of the season. And it would have been a big announcement that this is an interim captain. Our captain, the franchise's captain is Gabriel Landeskog. For the purposes of what we're doing this season, we're naming an interim captain. 1, would you do that? Or would you have done that? And 2, would it be Kale?
No, I wouldn't have done that. Yes, it would be Kale. I just think there's so many leaders in that room. I mean, the Avalanche have been very intentional about only bringing in leadership style players, right? Whether they were captains on their college team, captains on former NHL teams, captains on their junior teams. At some point, it's like 90% of the Avalanche were a captain somewhere. So I think that room's already so full of leaders, right? I think listening to Elliot Friedman talk about the Austin Matthews situation, he brought up an old player, I forget who it was, who used to be a captain but took a 4th line role, and he chose to give up the captaincy because in a 4th line you can't be quite the leader.
Hayduke did that. I don't know if that's who he was talking about, but
no, it wasn't. But you're right, and it makes me think of Andrew Cogliano, right? That guy was a captain in every sense of the word. Just didn't have a letter on his sweater. Played a 4th line role, did penalty killing minutes, but everything else he did on and off the ice was something a captain would do. So it didn't feel necessary, right? It's not like the Avalanche were lost without.
It's not like that was going to change something,
right? It just seems like they're stocked with leadership that naming a new captain just didn't feel like it was going to do anything.
Well, and that was ultimately the decision the organization came to, is in the coaching staff, was that they said, if we've got to put a different letter on your chest to make you act like a leader, well, then you're probably not the type of leader that needs that letter on your chest. And I'm with you. And I think Kale, Nate, like we heard a lot from Jared Bednar last year about Nathan MacKinnon and the way that his leadership styles, they weren't changing. Nathan MacKinnon is who he is, but how they were adapting and they were more well-rounded. And he wasn't just one type of leader anymore, that he had the ability to have those, conversations with players that weren't, contentious or finger pointing or anything like that.
He's matured a lot.
And so, I think you had those guys, and then I agree with you. Like Andrew Cogliano was a trade deadline acquisition, and within 3 months, people would probably have said, yeah, it was probably Gabe and then Cogs, and then, Nate and Kale and Mikko and Devon. And, you can kind of go down the list there, but
that's why Nate always brings Cogliano up, right? He loves him because he has that same kind of quality to him. And as far as leadership goes, that he respects the shit out of Andrew Cogliano. He doesn't just like him as a person. He respects him as a hockey player. Didn't want him to retire. I'm sure some people watching the show were like, no, he needed to retire. Like it was time. Nathan MacKinnon didn't believe so.
Yeah.
Right. So
I told Cogs that at the draft. I was chatting with him. I said, hey, Nate said he was pissed. He didn't think you should have retired. He goes, yeah, well, Nate's not 37. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the other thing too that just shows, how dialed in Andrew Cogliano is like, that's a guy that I don't know if I've ever met anyone that loves this game as much as he does. And for him to even be able to be like, I can't do this at the level that I want to anymore. Like, it's like, God damn, you're such a good leader. You even know when it's time to call it quits.
Right. And it's the style that he played, right? I mean, I think Nathan MacKinnon at age 37 is still going to be playing. Look at Sidney Crosby, right? And he's not going to be contemplating retirement yet at that point. But the way Andrew Cogliano played,
Crash test dummy, bro.
100%. That's the best way to describe him, right? He had no regard for his body. And so I think that's really ultimately why he had to make the decision he made.
Yeah. Last topic here, then we'll get to some questions. Make sure you guys get those questions in. 2 offer sheets. St. Louis Blues Doug Armstrong woke up this week and chose violence. 2 offer sheets, both to the Edmonton Oilers, both to Edmonton Oilers players, Philip Broberg, and it just fell out of my head, Dylan Holloway. Thank you. Right now, the reporting, it sounds a little bit like the Oilers are going to try to match 1. But look, the Blues did it because they know that the Oilers are in a really tough spot.
Yeah, and I think that's the thought process behind sending 2, right?
Mhm.
If they're only going to be able to keep 1, best case scenario, we get both of them. Worst case scenario, we get 1 of them.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's really going to make the Blues a much better team, but they're trying.
Mhm.
And I like the choosing violence part of it. Like, why be so cordial with one another? Why not just do everything you can to make your own team better? I'm curious how the players feel about something like that. Like, how is it going to be responded to on the ice, if at all?
Yeah.
Is this going to be where the Oilers are like, screw the Blues, this is our new rival, we're gonna go mess them up next time we play them? Like, how do the players respond to something like that? Obviously, the GM and the front offices are like, God damn it,
Right.
screw the Blues and
Someone
screw
did
Bill
this, yeah.
Armstrong. Like, this is horrible for us.
When Elliot Friedman was on the radio talking about it this week, and I don't know if he directly, quote unquote, said this, or if he just heavily implied that this would not have happened had it been Ken Holland as GM. Now, I think Ken Holland's a horrible GM, so I think it's good that he's not there anymore. But he said, like, I'm not saying that they did this to Stan Bowman, but this wouldn't have happened under Ken Holland.
Why? Just because there's like some friendship there?
Well, so I think that there was some more of a layer of friendship between Ken Holland and Doug Armstrong. But I don't know. Like, it also seemed like maybe he was implying that Stan Bowman not popular among GM circles right now.
Yeah, and I guess there is that layer of it, right? You don't want to make enemies when maybe further down the line you might want to find a trade partner in someone, right? I think that's why the Avalanche tend to kind of gravitate towards certain teams to make trades with, and other teams we don't really see too much with, because there seems to be relationships that play a factor in that. So yeah, I guess I understand the not choosing violence for that point, but it also is like, man, this is part of the game. If you're getting your feelings hurt because this team's trying to make their team better with a player that maybe you might be lowballing a little bit, or the conversations, the rumors of the soon to be offer sounds like a low ball, then like, it's fine. If they're willing to pay more, let them.
I do find it interesting that this doesn't happen more often.
Yeah.
Because this does seem like a so according to Elliot Friedman, the expectation is that the Oilers will match the offer sheet given to Dylan Holloway. It's a 2-year deal carrying an AAV of 4.58.
What a raise for him.
Yep.
I think I heard it was supposed to be 1.5 is what they were about to land on
for Edmonton.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're likely going to let the Broberg one go. So it sounds like they're going to let according to Elliot Friedman, they're going to likely let Philip Broberg go to St. Louis. They'll take the pick compensation for that, which I believe is a third. And then they're going to try and keep Dylan Holloway. But I mean, like, dude, they are right up against the cap. Heading to Puckpedia. Good folks over at Puckpedia. They're already over the cap by 7.2. Do they have any LTIR that like we're expecting?
Well, Vander Kane is supposed to get
Yeah.
surgery, but it's not supposed to be that long. I know there's some gymnastics and some loopholes and stuff like that they can go through to make all of this work. And I think that's kind of the direction they're going to probably be going in. So I wouldn't look too much into that. Yes, they're up against it, but are they going to be in a pickle? I'm sure they won't be.
They've only got, I mean, I guess that's, I don't know. I mean, as the Vegas Golden Knights have taught everybody, you can always get around the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
But Evan Bouchard is due for a new deal next summer.
Draisaitl,
you're well over the cap already.
How did they navigate the Jack Campbell mess?
He's just buried in the AHL.
Is that still up on their cap?
No, but they're paying him full boat. Oh wait, they bought him out. They bought him out this summer.
So they have half of his salary that they're still working with.
Yep. So this year it's a cap hit for Jack Campbell of 1.1 plus a cap hit of 1.9 for James Neal, both on buyout. The next year the Jack Campbell goes up to 2.3. The year after that it goes up to 2.6, and then the year after that it's back down to 1.5, and then they're done.
They're toast.
Dude, I just
they're
like
gonna be a wasteland. Draisaitl's gonna leave. McDavid's gonna leave.
I think this was smart business from the St. Louis Blues. I mean, sure they want to keep they want to keep Dylan Holloway, but like I'm looking at this, I don't know how they do it. Or wait, did they already match? This is showing like they already matched. I guess we're learning all kinds of stuff right now.
Yeah.
But Puckpedia has it on here for Dylan Holloway. Puckpedia has Dylan Holloway listed at 2.29 for this year and next. Interesting.
Yeah.
Either way, they're up against it.
Yeah.
They're in a tough spot. Yeah, I wish teams would do this type of stuff more. It's a great way to get either draft picks or young players, depending on which side of the fence you're on. But it's entertaining for us, and for them to do it with two players. This is kind of the true chess match of how this part of the CBA is supposed to work.
Yeah, and good for the players to get that raise in an inadvertent way, right? Like, cool. I didn't even really
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a couple of these questions in. How much trust do you think the team will have in Nichushkin if/when he returns? I think this is the golden question. I think that's what determines whether he comes back or not.
I think if and when he comes back, it will be commonly understood that it's the final.
Yeah, this is it.
The final chance, right? One more mess up. And I think Valenchushkin's not dumb. He's going to approach it accordingly, right? He's like, I promise you I won't mess this up again. Like, I've already brought enough shame to my name.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked like a silly goose out here. Like, I'm ready to just do this the right way and not have my career tarnished by stupid decision making. So I think the trust will be there simply because everybody knows that if it's not, everything's out the window.
Yeah.
Both the Avs' chances and Val Nichushkin's career in the NHL.
Well, and if he comes back and messes up, like right now, if the Avs were somehow able to terminate that deal, just hypothetically, like Val Nichushkin would get another NHL job tomorrow. I think if he comes back and messes up one more time, I don't know if I believe that anymore.
Yeah.
Because again, this isn't a typical like, oh, he's got off ice problems. How is he going to fit with the room? Is he going to piss people off? This is an availability problem. He's not going to be there when you need him. It's not that he's going to ruffle feathers or people aren't going to like him or he's kind of abrasive. He's not there to play for your team. We see teams all the time across all kinds of sports look the other way on, you know, problems that are away from the whatever your playing surface is. You know, the Edmonton Oilers, everyone makes a joke. Like, you know, they have Evander Kane, and then Corey Perry gets his contract terminated, and they sign him right away. This isn't the same thing. It's like, yeah, those two players might be assholes, but at least you know they'll be there.
I think Landeskog has such a unique skill set that, like, your team is significantly worse without
him.
And so not only are you just like, oh, we're getting him out of here and moving on. No, you're going to struggle for a second.
Markedly worse.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm with you. So I think it is. I think whether Gabe Landeskog, or excuse me, Landeskog comes back or not is 100% reliant on how much can that group trust him. Mentioned this yesterday. Any update on Nabokov coming to training camp? No, there's no update yet. I'm never here to divert people to other sources of coverage, but Evan Rowell is super dialed in on a lot of the KHL and Russian league stuff as it relates to the Avalanche. So he's a good follow for that. I've checked around with the couple people that I can think to check around with that, you know, would know, you know, his contract status and stuff. The best I've gotten is that it's really going to be up to his KHL team on whether they want to let him come to camp or not. He's got a contract for this season, so he's playing in the KHL this year. Their season will pretty much already be in full swing. They're a few weeks ahead of the NHL, so my guess is odds are probably not. But again, I don't want to say a hard no, because if he's upfront and transparent with his KHL team, like, yeah, I'm leaving after this year, I don't know. Like, there's been crazier things that have happened than KHL clubs letting their players go participate.
It sounds like a bunch of hoopla for nothing, though. Like, I don't think he wants to go through traveling all the way over here, adjusting the time zones just to spend a week at camp and then head back and then readjust, re-travel.
Totally.
Right. I mean, I think next year we can probably count on that for sure, but I don't see much of a point for him to even do it this year.
I'm with you. It would be exciting for us.
Yeah.
That'd be a great person for us to be able to watch. But logistically, I just don't see it making a ton of sense, especially since he's playing in what's considered the second best league anyways. It's not like the Avs are, you know, ooh, is he playing against good competition? It's like, yeah, he's playing in the second best league.
Yeah. I am excited to see him, though.
Me too.
I will say.
I mean, dude, I've heard a lot of really good stuff on him this summer. A lot of really good stuff. From Keith, not sure if you have an answer, but do you know if the Avs have made a final decision on Val? Is it up in the air still? Is it up to Val at this point? There's so much uncertainty. So I don't think it's up to the Avs really at this point. I think if it was up to the Avs, we would have seen this go in a different direction. Right now, my understanding of it is it's up to Val Nichushkin and essentially the league and the PA. I think if at any point Val wanted to say, I'm done, I'm not coming back, we would like to mutually terminate this deal, I'm going to stay in Russia, he can do that. The Avs would probably happily oblige. And everyone just kind of washed their hands of it, and suddenly $6.5 million just freed up. But my understanding is that as long as Val is going through the process, going through the steps, and the NHLPA says, yes, he's checking every box, the Avs just kind of have to go through the process, and the player comes back when the player comes back.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Avs want to do, right? I think they want to give Val the benefit of the doubt. And Val wants to be back. So, I mean, I'd put my money on him playing more games in an Avalanche sweater eventually. And we'll see where it goes from there. I'd also put my money on him cleaning himself up and kind of being.
Think so?
I do.
All
I
right.
do.
I
think 2 times of, you know, getting slapped on the wrist, if not more, is enough for someone to be like, all right, I got it. I'm sorry. I promise you this time is the time.
I am with you, though. This for all parties involved, this is the last shot.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last.
Sure. Yeah.
Last shot.
And everybody understands that. Like, I don't think it even needs to be said. Everybody out there watching knows this is the last shot.
This is it. Yeah. How in depth a look do you think we'll get on Landy with the new Amazon series, and will he be back by the time it comes out? I don't know when it comes out. I don't know when it comes out, so I can't answer that part of it. I think it's going to be a pretty in-depth look. We saw them around quite a bit last year. I was originally told that it was actually a documentary about Gabe Landeskog and his attempt to come back. That's not the case. It was part of the larger Amazon series they were doing about the league. But I think he's going to have a decent role in following along with him and his process through all of it.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know much about it. I've just seen the cameras.
I don't know hardly anything about. I know that they were there, and I know that they've made the announcement of which players they chose to follow, but I haven't checked in on any of the other stuff.
I mean, if you think about like if it's going to be similar to Hard Knocks,
they
might spend 2-3 minutes on just Gabe Landeskog and then move on to Nathan McKinnon and
and then they'll come back, several episodes later and check with him again. Yeah, so I don't know, but I know we saw the cameras following him around plenty throughout the season, so we'll see. Even though Georgiev felt very solid throughout most of the playoffs, I would say all but for one game of the playoffs. If he does not improve, do you think the Avs hang on to him after this year, meaning Avs do not find success in the playoffs? I think barring him popping off, I think this is his last year with the Avs either way.
Really?
That's just their track record. They moved on from Philip Grubauer right after he was a Vezina finalist. Darcy Kemper won them a Stanley Cup, and they moved on from him. The Avs have the philosophy of if you are not absolutely, truly exceptional in net, we can find someone for cheaper who can do just as good of a job. And I think right now you'd have to say that philosophy is held pretty strong.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? I think goaltending is the one position that you can find on the cheap because there's a handful of people that can suddenly step in and perform exactly how you need them to, and you don't have to overpay to do it. So I guess that might just be one of their strategies to managing the cap, especially right now that they are in a bit of a cap situation. I think that's a really good Band-Aid to put on any cap situation.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hallmarks of this Avs team has been that they have one of the lowest combined goaltender cap hits, starter and backup in the league, let alone among playoff teams. And it's allowed them, it's what's kept them from being in like true real cap hell, is that they've been able to stay flexible to goaltender position.
Yeah, and you'd rather pay the Mikko Rantanens, the Nathan McKinnons, the Cale Makars of the world than a goaltender that could be replaceable. So I don't think it would be Justus Annunen to step up and graduate into that 1A role. So it'd be somebody that we don't know yet.
I'm not going to write it off like if Justus Annunen like absolutely pops off this year, but I think I'm with you. I think it's going to take a truly exceptional performance from either one of these goalies to be the starter beyond this next upcoming season. Like I said, dude, I've heard of a lot of people who are very high on Ilya Nabokov.
Yeah. I don't know if he's that ready though, right?
No. But I'm just saying like long term, and I think, they spent a second round pick on him. There's a lot of really good buzz around him. The last KHL MVG they brought over was really good for them. And Pavel Francouz. And I think they're looking in that direction. I think they're trying to get younger in net.
How old is he again? He's like 24.
I think he's 24, maybe 25.
So yeah, I mean, you only need like a stopgap there for 1 or 2 years, and then you can kind of slide in and be your full-time starter. So yeah, no, that's interesting. We'll see how they navigate. I do honestly feel like the goaltending is the weak part of the team.
But like for me, you see what Georgiev did last year in the playoffs, and it's like, yeah, you got to live with the ups and downs, and he had some bad stretches, and that game 1 against the Jets, that was one of the worst goaltending performances I've seen in a playoff game ever, like point blank. You know what I mean? But he bounced back, and you and I have said it multiple times since. I feel like he was the Avs MVP the rest of the playoffs. And as long as you've got a goaltender that can do it, that's all the Avs are looking for right now.
Yeah. Then if he does have an extraordinary season, then there's going to be suitors that are going to pay him what the Avalanche aren't willing to pay him.
And that's the other part of it too, is that's where the Avs have really seemed to navigate this well. Semyon Varlamov, Philip Grubauer, Darcy Kemper have all left the Avs because they've said, we're good. We're not going to pay that. They've all gone on to get paid that. And Semyon Varlamov has probably been the best of the bunch since leaving
But
the
they've
Avs.
all been underwhelming where they go. Yeah.
Very underwhelming.
Yep.
Darcy Kemper has lost his starting role. Philip Grubauer has had to wrestle his starting role back and forth in Seattle. And they're all, both those goaltenders last year made more as individuals than the Avs paid for both of their goaltenders combined. I thought Darcy Kemper was fantastic for the Avs. I thought he was super underrated for how he played in Colorado. I thought Philip Grubauer was, in the regular season, consistently one of the best goalies in the league when he was with the Avs. And I think Semyon Varlamov is the most underrated Av in the history of this organization. So it's not like I don't like those guys, but the facts are the facts. They've left Colorado to big paydays, and all of their play has fallen off a cliff.
I don't like Philip Grubauer.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The one thing that drove me the most crazy was how small he made himself in his stance.
Dude, it drove me crazy,
Yeah.
especially off faceoffs. He was basically standing like with his legs together,
Yeah, his pads would overlap.
and like his forearm would like rest on his
Yeah.
hip. It's like, bro. And I mean, look, he plays in the fucking NHL.
Yeah.
Like
He's
what
better
do
than
I
me.
know? But that was always something that stood out to me.
Yep.
He's small too.
Yeah.
Small dude.
Not the friendliest of guys.
German. Let's open these cards.
Oh, well, first, before we do.
Oh yeah. Let's go to this camera just to make it easier. Yeah, there you go. Less work for you, but I will need you for me. Yeah.
This is the 4th edition of our 4-part series of JJ's Show and Tell
I love show and tell for
hockey
JJ.
cards. Now, these ones are fun because they're from 1989 and 90.
That's sick.
If you can read that. I don't even, how the hell do I open this?
Well, here, show what's on top first.
Oh, yeah. We'll start with these beauties. Joe Sakic rookie card here.
We have an in-house card expert.
Card enthusiast.
It's been to a lot of conventions, been part of this for a long time. I don't necessarily know if this one in this condition, but this Joe Sakic card is it's a highly touted card.
Now, if I could figure out how to, oh, there it goes.
There it is.
Now there's a ton of cards in here. So honestly, what I'm going to do, Jesse, is I'm going to give you half of them to just kind of thumb through.
Just see if there's anything in here.
Yeah. And
holy shit, there's a lot of cards in here.
yeah, exactly.
Whoa, dude, these are all in crazy good shape.
I don't even know. I think I opened these once 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't seen them since.
Where'd you get these?
I found these in a house I took over as a fix and flip. Got them for free.
I don't know if these are. You should definitely take these up to Matt.
Norris Trophy, Chris Chelios. That looks like a fun one with the Montreal Canadiens.
These are all like in brand new
Vezina Trophy,
shape.
Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy, dude.
Wayne Gretzky. I don't know what these Hart Trophy, like the trophy ones, are that cool.
You know what else I'm realizing as I'm thumbing through here? I feel like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I was looking for an Avs one.
Oh yeah. There's
The Avs weren't even around. Yeah.
I got a Nordiques one here in my hand. I don't even know what the player is. Like, these cards are so old school, they don't even say the player's name.
Mike McPhee, Brian Benning. Oh, damn, Luke Robitaille. Yeah, you need to take these up to Matt. These are pretty sweet, dude. This is great television right now. But yeah, I almost feel like we should go through these better and then redo part 4 with like a here's the good ones we found.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that box was going to be packed full.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, yeah, I'm going to pull out some of my faves. I mean, these are like brand new 1990 hockey cards.
Yeah.
Peachy hockey cards. I mean,
a lot of them are people I don't know or ever heard of, like Mike Hogue with the Quebec Nordiques. No idea who that is.
Steve Yzerman. I almost said Stan Yzerman. Steve Yzerman, like in very
Paul
good
Gillis,
shape.
Nordiques. Eero Järvi,
Dude,
Nordiques.
this is
Ron Tugnut, Nordiques.
Dale Hawerchuk, Steve Duchesne,
Robert Pickard.
Paul. Yeah, you need to take these upstairs.
Oh, I love this name. Former Nordique player Mario Marios. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a flop on the 4th.
Well, no, but let's revisit this one because I think this could be the best one. But We just got to know what's in here. There's just so I was not expecting you to hand me a stack that big.
Mark Bergevin. That's fun.
That is fun. All right, open up your pack.
No, you go first,
Me
so I can
first?
collect
All right.
myself here.
Yeah, you got to come look at these. Look, Matt just walked down here. There's a whole not right now, but just in general. You like these are all like brand new. That's crazy. Okay, we are 2022, 2023 Series 1. So this is not this past season before. Series 1, looking for young guns. Oh, there it is.
The Mario with no bucket.
Yep, there we go. There it is in focus. All right. Dude, I love the way that these sound when you open them. A little bit of ASMR for you, maybe.
Nothing's better than a fresh pack of tennis balls.
Ooh, funk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then the smell and you
Oh, okay. Jacob Verana, Detroit Red Wings. Gabe Landeskog, the
Hey,
man
what
of
do
the
you know?
day. Oh, bringing it down a little bit. Sorry, I got too excited there. Gabe Landeskog. There's our first Landy pull. Nice. Braden Point, Tampa Bay Lightning. Got a sideways one there. Love Braden Point. Great player. Miro Heiskanen. Good pack so far. Oh, Ryan Johansson on the Dazzlers card. And he certainly was. He certainly was a dazzler. Big shout out to our guy Ryjo. 1C right there, whole career. Mitch Marner, Toronto Maple Leafs, still of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Philip Deno, LA Kings. William Carrier of the Vegas Golden Knights.
That was a good pack.
That was a good pack. A lot of players.
Makes me feel like mine's not going to be that good. I like how Landeskog is looking right at the camera.
Totally. That's a great one right there. That's a great one. Ooh.
Now we'll go to mine.
You're going to switch back to your cam.
Yep.
Dude, I love the Ryan Johansson Dazzlers card. That is just fantastic.
Started with Nathan Bastian. Meh. Gurianov.
All right.
Jacob Markstrom. Man, mine's underwhelming. You got all the good ones.
Well, hold on.
Igor Sharangovich.
Yeah, maybe.
Troy Terry.
Highlands Ranch native.
Highlands Ranch Zone.
Megan Angley is hyped right now watching this somewhere. DU and Highlands Ranch and Thunderbirds, I think.
Yeah, so I actually coached Rock Canyon High School his senior year.
Yeah.
But his senior year, he was already gone from Rock Canyon High School. So me and the other coaches were like, shoot, we could have coached Troy Terry.
Because he played 1 year, didn't he? For the high school?
Yeah. Adam Pellick, Sean Couturier, and John Carlson. Man, this was a weak pack.
Man, didn't even. We did have some. It's a sign. Landy's going to return. That has to be a good omen, right? The first day he skates, we spent a lot of the show talking about him, and we pull a Landy card.
I still think the card of the day is the Ryan Johansson Dazzler.
Well, and then Avs legend Ryan Johansson also here in the chat. Yeah. Because what a dazzler he was. You can even see it even from this pulled out shot. That's sparkly. It's dazzling.
Dazzling.
Well, hey, like I said, that's 1C his whole career, Ryan Johansson, to you. Anything else for today?
No. FedEx Cup.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it next week.
No, I don't mean I want to. That's just all. That's what's on my mind.
We need to get you on the daily.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. All right. I thought there was going to be more to that.
No.
Yeah. I love it when people agree with me. That's going to do it. Jay on the board and on the camera. Mark back there looking like he's running all kinds of stuff as well. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend.
Yep.
For Jay and Mark, that's JJ Jerez. I'm Jesse Montaño. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll be back Monday. Oh, that's right. We got an announcement. Head on over to the Gorilla Sports Twitter right now. We are giving away 2 tickets to this Sunday's Broncos preseason game against the Green Bay Packers. Head on over to at Gorilla Sports _ on X. Follow the prompts here and get a couple tickets. Go see the Broncos play on Sunday. It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend weather-wise. And preseason football, it's always a little bit less chaotic than a regular season football game. 80,000 people is a lot. Preseason's always a little bit calmer. Get to enjoy the weather still. It hasn't gotten fully nasty out like it normally does for football. Throw that up one more time. Throw it up for the folks one more time. Oh, he's not doing it. He's not throwing it up for the folks one more time. But head on over. There it is. There we go. Like I said, Guerrilla Sports, Twitter. Check it out. Retweet, follow, comment, get some tickets, boost your weekend a bit. Go hang out, watch Denver Broncos, courtesy of Guerrilla Sports. For Jay, that's JJ Jerez. I'm Jesse Montaño. Thanks so much for hanging out. There he is. There's Jay. For that guy. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.